Our second speaker of the day is Mr. Terry Brockie. We're very excited about having Terry here. He's the superintendent of schools for Blaine, Montana, the first ever Native American school county superintendent in the state of Montana, and that's a big deal. You have to get voted into this position, a very, very prominent position in education in the state of Montana. He's a trained teacher from the Fort Belknap Indian Reserve who advocates strongly for language, culture, and tradition in relation to Native American education. He's a language educator. He works with young people on language retention, and we're really excited to present to you this morning Mr. Terry Brockie.
Nina stekkin beitutsit nähä sen on näin oninen nähä kisän on hiitten päbie en on nitan na ekki na initan na nitsähä nani sit beitutsit neina Shirley Ashton ni theina nawas na bin esna thana ni na habana no pi da what's in it then that's icky and panatha. My relatives, I'm really glad to be here. Good morning to everyone. I carry the name Red Belt as my name. I'm white clay. Translated to English means Grovant is what we were as French. Our sign means waterfall people. Right there. Hello, Tim. And that sign originates just about 40 miles north of here, because our people used to roam up here. And our first contact with Europeans, we were right up in this area. And I'm here we call this the Belly River in our language, so I feel real good every time I come here because place connects us. Because I know many of you from this area that are indigenous to this area have a name for this river right here. And it has meaning and stories behind it. And that's good. I'm really, really honored to be here to speak today. I've been working for many years in education, and I didn't start out in education. I was like Nihot, our trickster, Gathe East and knows that. Gee, I was just kind of wandering around every day. That's how I felt in my life. But I went to school one time down in Lawrence, Kansas. They have what they call Haskell Indian Nations University. And it's a federal school for all the native, it's a junior college, went to a university. And we used to go down there and sweat. I went in this sweat lodge. And there were 6 of us. And there was a man, a Lakota man that was running the sweat. There was a Dene man. There was a Crow man, a Dene man, a Cheyenne man, and myself in there. And I was in the back. And there's always a time for those that have went into a CBAC or a NEPI, however in your language, however you use it, there's a time when you get to express yourself. And everyone talked, and they talked, and they spoke beautifully in their language. And it got to me, and I knew how to say, Niwa binat watan hon. Grandma, give me some money. But I really felt pitiful that day. I felt pitiful because I was rich. And I had what do they call it, an epiphany, I guess? A moment of clarity. And I thought, gee, boy, my grandmother had passed away, my dad's mother. But all in Western world, our great aunts, but we just call them our niwaha, our grandmothers, they all spoke, fluent speakers. And I finished that semester of college, and I went home. And I really, 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 really was glad that I did that. That was the best decision in my life from an educational standpoint. Today, I am a public officer. Gee, right away, it's going like this. No. And it's an elected position. And I have oversight over all the schools within our county. And that time led me to where I'm at today. I attribute it all to what I learned in my language. I was blessed. I got to work with the oldest lady in the state of Montana. That was my teacher. I had grandmothers that I always worked with. I worked with this lady. She passed on at 111, but I spent 5 years every day going there. And she'd have her burners on in her stove and have the furnace up to 10, and I'd just be sweating, and we'd sit there all day, and she would talk Indian to me. And I relearned my language. But what I really learned from her was to have balance in my life. Think about it. Being 111, she saw the invention of a car, of a phone, of a TV, of a computer. She was married like 3 times, so she saw death and life. She saw all these things. She saw tragedy, happiness. And that's what I learned the most from her, from our culture, was balance. It's like we think I was talking about Nihat or Iktomi or whatever. Wisagi Chuk, I think is how you say it in Cree, and all these ones that teach us. And that's what they teach us. Really, when it gets down to it, is to have balance in life. And if we look at our children today, where are they at? Many of them are here and there, angry, mad, raging, hyper. I mean, we were at one of our Athehau Sundance, rain dance. We call them sacrifice lodges. And after the big feast, she was sitting there in a chair, her and another elder, and she had a little plastic cup of tea there. Gee, she went to reach over like that. Gee, she went over in her chair. Woo! This elder, her name was Bikanhe, kills at night. She used to always say, "You better watch out at night," she'd tell me. And she fell over, and I just happened to be there. Boy, I ran over there because I was the Nasanehi. I was the crier for the lodge. I ran over there, and she was laying there, and she hit the bumper of her car. And she was probably about 108 then. Gee, boy, she had a big cut on her eye, and I was just panicked, you know. I said, "Neil, you all right?" "Oh, yeah, I got bucked off," she said. You know, and that's what I mean. And we all laugh. But that's what I mean with our Indian ways. That's that balance she had. Oh, you know, you fall sometimes. You cut yourself. You see? You do those things. And so what I learned in our language was to have that balanced lifestyle, number one. And so that I understand that I'm going to get mad sometimes. I understand I'm going to get happy. I understand I'm going to cry. I understand that there's going to be life and there's going to be death. All these things, there's balance there. And everywhere we look in our environment, everywhere, there's balance. We can find that. I really like what everyone talked about, the speakers. They're talking about the earth and our traditional education, to think Indigenous. That's, to me, what drives me. I work for all the public schools, but if I had my druthers, I would be just that nerd in a back room, just digging through old documents, looking at words, trying to figure out, you know, the deep, 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 deep meanings of our language. Because to me, that is the key to our youth. That's where they're going to find it. My big ears coming off this microphone keeps moving all over. But that's what I enjoy doing. And as I've gone on, I'm going to share a few things because I think a lot of us, you know, our tribes, our nations, we're losing speakers. We lost Watan Nathak, an elder. His name was Fred Gone. And his father did a lot of work. And had we not done that work in the 1930s, our people would have been really pitiful with historical documents. And we lost him last week. And it was heavy loss, because when we lose our elders, that knowledge goes with them from here. Goes with them from here. And, you know, he'd tell me, come over. My wife's a pharmaceutical technician, so he'd come to the hospital. He'd come over, and I just wouldn't go over there as much as I should. But that's the way it is. It's the way it is. And, but our children, need that kind of knowledge that we would use every day. I would go sweat with him every week, and he would always share something. And it was really good. This morning, I thank our elders for prayers today. They reaffirmed. She said, they say. And I love hearing that word. In our language, we say, Brockie. They say. And we kind of understand that, huh? What does it mean to they say? Isn't that a traditional educational form right there? That is really the true essence of our education, because it's passed down. You see that? And there's humility based in that. Based in it. It's modeled in that. Because we think about they say. That's our elders. Well, who? Oh, our ancestors. Well, which ones? Oh, those ones that came before us that have passed that down from grandparent to grandchild, mother to daughter. You see, all those things. And so as I go forward in my life, that drives me as an educator, that I have to pass on that. I have a responsibility to pass that type of knowledge on. We talk about our veterans of today, but we also had veterans, warriors, Nakikanin and Benin, and long before there was Canada and the United States that protected us. Thousands of years that way. And we owe that as educators. We owe that to the next generations. It's our responsibility, is the way I look at it. Now, I'm just a man, but that's the way I look at it. And our language, one of the things that I've always studied, and what kind of one of the messages that I want to speak with today is taking those that understand their languages and those that are wanting to, and those that don't, they're all the same. What I would encourage you to do is to think deeply about our traditional educational forms. For example, in my language, there are many words that have great meaning. English is a term language. That's a projector. That's a speaker. You see what I mean? This is a floor, stage. In our Indian languages, we describe what these things are. So it paints a picture, huh? And it just really livens it up. But also in our values, in our virtues, our morals, in our Indian way, they paint that. It's like our elders were praying today, they were talking. And when we go home a lot of times into our communities, an elder might get up and talk, and everyone says, top way, whatever way, we reaffirm that speech through our words to acknowledge that we're listening to them. But also, the same thing that is really important with that is to talk about our basic meanings. And so we talk about respect. Down in the States, we always talk about, you got to respect. But I always try to go a little bit farther, and I talk about humility. Nisan nahit is how we say it in Anak. Because if you don't see yourself as equal to everything, how can you have respect? And that's what our children and our schools so desperately need, so desperately want. Really. Because we're a communal people, and you want to be a part of that group. You see that? And that humility, and what it means in our language, nis and nehit, means to speak together, the act of speaking together. So when we think about educational concepts, it teaches me to be a critical thinker about what I speak about. Before I speak, I think about it. I process that thought. Then I put it out. In our language, we have itta, our heart. We have It's kind of like the part between your heart and mental activity. Then we have itsa. That's mental activity. Then we have a thought dawa. which means our breath. Then we have aniki, the word. So it's a functional pathway of thought, a functional pathway to be a critical thinker. And as I think those are things that are important to infuse into our children in a classroom setting to give them those types of understandings. I mean, you think about it. I know I'm in the States. I watch old President Barack Obama, and he's at the podium, and it says president here, and he's at a press conference, and they ask him a question about Iraq or someplace, and boy, his word is golden. What he says could, set off a firestorm, and Netanyahu and Israel's all mad and everything. They ask him a question, and he sits there. He doesn't answer right away. Then he responds because he's using that. He's thinking critically about what I'm going to say, because what I want to say, I want everyone to say, dap way. You see, all those things. Really. And that's our Indian way, and I always kind of like it for our presidents in the United States, because, he's watching us Indians. He's learning from us, That's what I always think, anyways. Like he said, he watched. But one of the things that along that line, if we talk about those nis and nehit, humility. Also, if we talk about wisdom, it's very similar. Natanehit. What that means is when you speak, you form your words properly. You abundantly form your words, really intensively form your words. That's kind of the concept. I can't just say this is exactly what it means in a term. But taking different words and associating them from different words, that's what you learn. Okay, he's not there yet, but almost. All right? And so when we think about that word, that tanehit, it can mean many things. And it can mean to speak wisely, craftily, you see. There's a lot. Even the other way, again, like we talk about balance, it can mean to speak slyly too. You see? So even that word, you see, has that balance in it. And those are the types of things that I really, really, really think our Native children need to understand. And I call on you as educators to think deeply about those things and how we're passing that knowledge on to our children. The speaker before talked about communities. It's a hard thing to describe because each reserve, each reservation, they're all unique in their own belief systems, and that's what's empowering about it. We look at our histories, and with boarding schools, they're very similar here and there, and we're okay now. We're okay. We're alive. I know many of us have went through hard tragedies, but we have people that are carrying that on. I'm here to defend our elders. I know there's a room full of people that are here to defend our elders. And I implore, I call on, I beg of our elders to share that knowledge. I beg of our educators to take that time to go sit with those elders and learn that knowledge, to sit with them. Bring them that tongue, bring them that taniga, whatever it might be, you know what I mean? Bring those gifts and sit and be patient and learn, because you'll gain so much from it. Then you can turn and pass that on to our children. We all are related. And so when our children come to the school, those are my children. I used to always keep my door open. And one time they had a shooting down in, they always have these school shootings and stuff. Boy, it's tough. I always hate. I said, that'll never happen in the reservation. One time they had it down in, I believe in Minnesota after that. I thought, gee, what am I doing? Those are my children. Those are my children. I shut the door. I wanted them safe. I wanted them. I couldn't, because that's how I felt. They're my children. And that's how we have to approach it. They're our children. You see, when we see children misbehaving, we should show them in a good, kind way. We should model them in a good, kind way what is proper. You see? What is proper? Because we see that in our children. You see? Show them that balanced lifestyle. Sometimes it's hard. It takes courage. But that's what we need. See, again, that's because that's how it's tough. That's what makes it hard, that road. You see? Because there's courage and humility, and that person has to walk on that. You see that? We have to walk on that. Because, boy, if I get too courageous now, I can't even balance my head, I'm bobbing all over, right? And if I'm too humble, now I'm kind of meek, you know what I mean? I'm not being strong. So it's hard. That's a balance that we have to walk, you see? And so those are some things that I always really thought about. And one of the things that I used to teach, how are we at? 5 minutes? Okay. I used to teach, and and I'm not trying to brag on my relative or anything, but my one relative, she could talk good Indian. And I would just throw stuff out at her, new concepts, and she'd just manipulate and play with the words. And it was so fun to teach her. And we started talking about our spiritual ways. She said, can't talk about that. I was like, I just thought, wow, that just really took me back. So my grandma said, they're gone, they're dead, she said. Boy, just really, because my relative. Come off the same branch, And it just really made me think about that. And, in America, I can't speak for Canada, but there's always this church and state, and I thought, this isn't church, this isn't a religion, it's embedded in our language, everything about it. So I just went on and teaching it. I didn't worry about it after that. And that was really, for me, helped me reconnect to our elders, help me reconnect to our history. And our children need that connection because they get in the mirror today and they look and they see their Indian with those values, those virtues, the morale. Sometimes they don't understand what it means to be a First Nation child, what it means to be Lakota or Nehiawe, right? Is that how you say that? I'll make sure. Dakota, okay? Anishinaabe, all those Anin and Nakota. What it means to feel that. And I encourage the teachers to go home and capture that and bring that into the classroom and teach about that when you have a reading assignment. Teach about reading our history. When you have a math, relate it to something that is mathematical in our world, in our little local world there. Because if you think around, like the speaker before was talking about place, it's all right there. We talk about that. In our language, we talk about gae'enikit, means patience. And so if a little kid's running around, you might say ga'etz. It means be still, sit still. But it means to be sullen. So when we talk about patience, it's like gae'enikit. It means to have a still, sullen life. A circular life. Because ga'e means circular. A circle. So if you think about it, if you go fast, you sit on a butte, you sit on a mountain. Everything's around you. Everything. The lights go out, you know what I mean? When it's day, it's day. And I encourage our youth to try those traditional pathways, to understand what it means for one drop of water or one little bite of a cantaloupe after going 4 days and 4 nights without water. Really think about that. What it means to do things like that. Those are our ways that are transcendent over time to do those things. That was our education because we paid attention to the sky and the earth and the plants and the winged ones, the four-leggeds, and the unknown even. The unknown. That's our way. Many of us as Plains people, that's our way. I always tell my students, when they get to that age of becoming a young man or a woman, I said, you should go sit up on a hill for four days and 4 nights. I don't care what you pray to, what you believe, just go sit up there. Go sit up there. Because when you come off that hill, you're a different person. You're a truly different person from that moment forward in your life. I sincerely believe that. That's just me, my own little simple, humble opinion. But those are the types of things that our children need. They need to be reconnected to the earth, to the sky. Powers everywhere. Powers everywhere. And I'm really looking forward to hearing all these speakers today because it should be pretty exciting. I know I'm about done, huh? Yeah. So I want to thank the Think Indigenous Committee, and want to thank all the people that came, committed to your communities. I'm going to leave with a prayer, because in our tribe, I carry a covenant for our people, and I want blessings on all of you. I want you all to be blessed, your homes. I want you all to, leave this place and your homes be well. So just bear with me in your own way, whatever way you come. I just want to say a prayer for you. Ha wahi bahat teki kepnita. Ha satsni tehi bea no hani. Ha nahawana no ni saha ni tats no panatha. Oni bitan ha no pi nitan. Beinin data ha ki na the atten not nat stats in in na ni e no hani. Ha ne ha nathanon. Ha bitan hin no pi nitan. Only betan ha no initan, at ni no initan, it dots and not done ha woo in arkawoods, ha wo non in no pe, the hearts and neha, no pe, what na he ha, at ni no pe in it, and being in nisa, wawana, it dosa on anitha. Oh, thank you all for being here today. Oh.